Hi all, happy International Women's Day. I'm Jovana, and this is our HTEC Celebrates Women in Tech feature, where I will interview our girlfriends and colleagues from HTEC about their experience working in tech. I'm tuning in live from the HTEC universe, as you can see. And by the way, this lovely background with these prisms and squares was designed by my today's guest, Jovana Dakic, who is a product designer at HTEC Group. She's actually a lead product designer on HTEC's long-standing project with a client from Sweden, who is one of the world's leaders in workforce management software solutions. Jovana, as I said, is also the creator of our unique HTEC design and feel, which generally we are so proud of here at HTEC. She joined our team in 2017, and back then the designer team only had seven people. For the record, now the team comprises more than 30 creatives, and Jovana is at the center of it. Let's hear about her development path and her experience working in the tech industry. Hi, Jovana, and happy International Women's Day to you.
Hi, Jovana, happy International Women's Day to you as well.
Thank you. Can you tell us about your beginnings in design?
Yeah, sure. So where should I begin? Probably I always knew that I want to create things, and I just didn't know what will that exactly be. So I thought the picture became more clear for myself when I started studying industrial design, which couldn't be further from the truth. But at the end of my studies, I've got a chance to volunteer as a UX and UI designer at one of the Belgrade startups. And I loved it. I loved the dynamic. I was new, I was fresh, I was eager to learn all different kind of things, and I was just at the right place. So we can say that I fell in this kind of design at that time. So the best way to describe the very beginning of my career and working in the startup is if I was the person who didn't quite know how to swim and I was thrown in a deep pool. So I learned how to swim very fast, and I even learned a lot of tricks in the pool. But after a few years, I started thinking, am I ready for an open sea now? So that's how I ended up here in HTEC.
So you went from a deep pool into the deep sea.
Yeah.
And can you describe what you saw as the differences between this startup culture that you started at and the corporate culture that you found at HTEC?
Yeah. Well, it started. I changed the job because it came naturally. I felt a desire to grow, and I wanted to surround myself with more experienced designer. So I felt like I figured out which part I want to focus on, which later shows as no true. I was still far from figuring out anything. But the difference is I love established processes here, defined roles, and the quality of the output. So we could say I mastered my swimming here and even learned how to free dive. So at startup, I became versatile and flexible, like everyone working at startup are. But in HTEC, I definitely matured as a designer nicely, along with the product I'm working on.
So were you happy with the support and the knowledge transfer that you gained at HTEC?
Yeah, of course, and it's happening at the moment. It's happening now, so it haven't stopped.
Yeah, it's happening
Oh,
all the time.
yep.
We're always learning something new and learning from some uh, senior level colleagues. Um, And you mentioned that you like the established processes and defined roles and some of the product output quality that you found at HTEC. Can you tell us a bit more about this process at HTEC? How do you design interfaces and experiences?
Well, that's a very long answer for this question, but if I could say that the product discovery phase never stops here in HTEC. It is not something reserved exclusively for the beginning, but at any other point of a product's life cycle. So market is changing, user needs, everything is changing, and we constantly need to learn and adapt. And sometimes I get asked from the developers or my colleagues, like when the design going to be done, like done. And I usually say never, because that's how digital product is supposed to work. It's always changing and evolving. Yeah, we have a lot of different approaches to our customers and users. Some of those are, for example, user interviews. We conduct a lot of user interviews, gathering feedback, learning about our clients and their needs. And we do a lot of usability testing as well. So that is super important, like learning about your end users, learning about the product and everything. So it never stops, and it's always fun.
Does this process ensure that when the product is done and delivered and launched, that the clients are usually happy with the result, or does it always have some problems in the end? And of course, I guess that you can't always make everyone happy. So how do you choose the balance? Which ideas make sense and go into production, and which are pushed aside and maybe pushed to another version of the product?
Yeah, so there is a lot of people making those decisions. So it's not like we do something and then we transfer it to the next person and then that person says yes or no. Like we all do it together and make decisions. So a lot of testing is needed, and I would say, like, we also receive a lot of negative feedback all the time, and it is super valuable, as well as the positive one. But I think I like to say that design is like a common sense. So as long as you keep it real, and I don't know, there are practices, there are patterns you use. So I don't know how to answer to that question, but yeah, there is a lot of people in the process, and we all work together to uh, get to the final decision, what will be eventually done.
So fluidity is what matters, I guess.
Yeah, you can say that. I could only say that in like 2 words, but yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to describe the whole process in like 2 minutes that we have.
Yeah.
But I think you did a pretty good job. I was interested in knowing more, a bit more about this client, and you don't have to mention who the client is, but just like generally, how do you work with them? How do you like the project? How long have you been on the project? How do you like your colleagues?
Yeah, well, I've been in this project for more than 2 years now, and I was a part of a mobile version, and I was a designer there. So I just joined the, let's say, a desktop version of that platform. So I feel like I'm starting all over again. It's different, totally different approach. But the biggest thing is we don't have a classic client-employee relationship with this client. And we at HTEC really feel like a part of their organization. And this is, beside being a nice and a human thing to do, very good for the business as well. They gave us outstretched hand, and we just justified their trust. Um, but it's super important to be involved in all parts of the product, and we have a big impact and take a part in decision making, as I mentioned earlier. And it's really hard for me to talk like this. So who are they? Who are we? Us? Because we really do work as one, and I really like working for this client.
That's good to hear. And if you could single out one thing that's your like one favorite thing about this project and this client, can you tell us what would that be, if there is one thing?
Well, maybe the thing I just mentioned, a sense of belonging, it's a basic human need, and to feel appreciated and valued. So it requires a lot of work on both sides, but it definitely pays off. So, and travels are also fine.
Just like any relationship, right?
Yeah,
Marriage or love relationship or friendship, there's
exactly.
always ups and downs. Okay, so finally, I have just one more question for you, and it's not related to your HTEC work, but more it's more of a general question. Uh, can you name one woman who has inspired you in your career, and what was the lesson you learned from her? And this is the question because today is the International Women's Day, and we dedicate this to all the great women in tech and business.
Oh, well, maybe I'm not the real person for this, but no, I cannot name one woman or one human at all. The truth is, I am a loner by choice. I like to observe people's behavior, and I like to listen to people. Um, that's of course a very important part of learning. So, and design is really closely related to psychology, but there is no person I could single out. But you could say I'm inspired by all humans being in general, as well as the rest of the nature. So, like, political answer. It sounds like that,
Fair enough.
but I really mean that.
Fair enough, and thanks for being honest. Uh, and thanks for the interview. See you around, and I wish you all the best in your future life and career. Many great designs to come at HTEC, and thanks for being my guest today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. See you later.
See you later. Bye.